victim rights, defendant rights. Rights are great, but they don't rate when crime lurks. You need smarts. You need street smarts, a high IQ, a safe streets IQ. Welcome, and thank you for your interest in becoming a reporter for Safe Streets IQ, the internet TV show that focuses on providing tips to people on how they can avoid becoming a victim of crime. What we do is we go out to the community and ask people if they've been a victim or have a close friend or family member who has been a victim, and what precautions they take now to avoid becoming a victim in the future. Could be any kind of crime, simple car theft, break-in of a car, home, pickpocket, a purse snatcher, or it could be something far more serious. Whatever it is, we're interested. Anyone could do these interviews. As you can see, I'm not a teenager, and as a matter of fact, teenagers can do it. So any member of your family can participate in this project. And what we'll do is we'll edit the interview from the beginning to the end. In other words, we won't edit in between the interview, so it's important that they flow evenly. If you mess something up, please start again and do it again. So you can do an interview, the same interview a few times until the person gets comfortable with the answers. Then you would be downloading what you have so we can pull it off the internet. And we explain how to do that on our website, safestreetsiq.us. With that said, I'm going to show you the camera we use, which is a double lens camera. Very inexpensive and very easy to use. $50 on eBay or Amazon.com. And again, our website provides links as to where you can get it, or you can do your own shopping. And the specifics of the camera are up there too. But what makes this different and ideal for interviewing purposes is it's got a button here that you can switch the lens. So in some of the video you can show the person you're interviewing, some yourself. What we try to do is focus on that person when they're talking and focus on you when you're talking. However, it doesn't have to be like that. And you can certainly get your reaction, that person's reaction. If you make a mistake and you have it on at different times, just don't switch it too often, because then it kind of jumbles up. And hold this as steady as possible so that both you and that person is in it. You have to be careful, but you can do it. Just hold it steady, and if you don't do it exactly, it'll still be good. Correct yourself. The important thing is to get an even flow of the interview, between a minute and 4 or 5 minutes. Not too short, not too long. All right, and at the end of the interview, or at the beginning if you wish, you give them a web card so they can go see their interview and get more information about the project. These are provided to you by email from us when you agree to become a reporter, and you download a sheet and you could print it out on any paper you want, a heavier stock as we have done, or just simple black and white paper, and cut them out individually, and they look pretty good, and they provide all the information. They read Safe Streets IQ, the internet TV show that provides practical tips on how to avoid becoming a victim of crime. Visit safestreetsiq.us. All right, with that said, and again, more details you can read on the website to find out how further to prepare yourself to become a reporter. And we certainly want you. We want everyone to participate here, because while victim rights, defendant rights, all groups working on rights on either side of the fence are important and doing good things, most important is that we as individuals take precautions so that we don't become a victim of crime. The responsibility for avoiding becoming a victim rests in ourselves. All right, With that said, we're going to go out to the community and do some sample interviews. And perhaps a Starbucks, perhaps another place, wherever people gather. And of course, if we had a family gathering going on right now or some office meeting, I would just interview people there. And again, ask them just 2 questions. 1, have they been a victim of crime or have a close friend or family member who have been? And 2, what precautions they now take to avoid becoming a victim in the future. We want a set pattern as to how you introduce the person, first names only, and the location. So you would say, I'm talking to Jim, with the camera lens on you. I'm talking to Jim in Washington, D.C., and Jim has been a victim of crime. Tell us about it, Jim. The camera on them. And again, switch it back and forth. And if you don't do it precisely, that's fine. If they start talking and not on them, it doesn't matter. As long as it's a little bit back and forth, and they show this is a real, actual interview being done. And when you end the interview, as you'll see in the sample, we want you to end it in a certain way. So you would say, this is Helen Jones for Safe Streets IQ. And that ends the interview. We don't want any affiliations of anyone, businesses featured. We don't want this to be a promotional show for anyone. We want this to be a serious, helpful show for the community. With that said, let's go out there and see who we can interview. We're talking to Tracy in Washington, D.C. Tracy, what happened to you?
I noticed the other day when I checked my bank account that there was a purchase that I did not authorize that was on my account. So I called the bank and had them investigated and filed a claim. And the only thing I could think of, because no one stole the card is still in my possession, was that someone had got my information off the internet from probably a purchase I'd made that wasn't from a secure website, and I think that's probably what it was, someone I wasn't used to dealing with. So my advice would be...
So you pretty well know what the website, you suspect what
right,
it was.
that I suspect it was.
Okay.
So I just, filed a claim with that and take it from there and see what happens.
Okay. Is there any way you think a person can avoid being a victim like that?
I would think the main thing is just to make sure that you know the website that you're using and ordering from.
Right.
And just make sure they have secure, very secure payment policies and stuff like that. And some of these little websites that aren't very popular, and just, just be aware of what you're doing when you're online, because a lot of people can get your information that way. Just make sure it's a secure account.
And I would assume checking your bank account too.
Yes, on a regular basis, just to make
basis.
sure that there is no unauthorized purchases that were made.
Did the bank make good on it?
Yes, actually it just happened recently. Like the other day I just noticed it, so I called them this morning and made the claim.
Oh, and they're going to take care of it?
And they're going to take,
Okay.
And they're going to investigate it and take the necessary steps.
Okay, and I guess if you waited too long, that could be a problem with the
Exactly.
bank. Yeah.
And what I did also was I automatically canceled that card so that it couldn't be used again. Even though it was a small amount, it could have been just like a test that someone was doing to see if they could get money from the account.
Right.
So I went ahead and closed out that card so it can't be used again if they tried it. They know they can't get any more from out of my account.
Do you know what the person purchased with it?
It was something from a bike shop.
Okay.
That's what came up, and I don't have a bike.
Right.
I have no use for bike parts. So I knew it was something I did not authorize. And the card is still in my possession, so I knew it had to come from offline.
Okay.
From online.
All right, very, very helpful. Thank you. This is Dennis Sobin for Safe Streets IQ.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm talking to Elena in Alexandria, Virginia. Elena, you're out here with your instrument, and tell me what happened to you.
Well, I think about 7 years ago, I was walking home from work and I got mugged. It was weird. It was late at night. I was cranky. It was raining. I was loaded up with groceries. And I was like I'd been walking for like a good half a mile because things happened, so I had to catch the late bus, which wouldn't get me home as quickly. And I had to walk, so I wound up like walking like well over a mile. And I was like literally just a block and a half away from my house. And it's raining, so I'm walking down, and I'm texting my boyfriend because he's coming over to visit. And I see this other guy walking down the street towards me, and alarm bells start going off. And then he starts talking to me, and then he puts the phone down, and then starts walking with me, which really bothered me. And kept asking questions like, "Oh, are you married? I'm like, no, but my boyfriend's coming here soon," and such. And he had this accent, and it pissed me off. And we're almost to the corner, and he grabs my purse, and I'm ticked off, and I grab it. So I'm like, I drop my groceries, and I start like playing tug of war because I'm just ticked off. I am angry. And then it says, "Oh, well, I've got a knife," and I let go because I was ticked off because none of my punches were connecting. And then he jumped into this black SUV in the driver's seat with the door was open, engine was on and running. It split, and I was like running down the street screaming. And then like I run up to my door and I pound on it. Luckily, one of my roommates was home, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to get in because my keys were in my purse. And I'm like, the first thing I do is like I'm just so ticked off. I'm looking for my credit card number to try to disable the credit card. And my mom said, "Shouldn't you call the police?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." So I call the police, and they come, and within a couple minutes, and they were part of this. It turns out this guy was part of a gang that was like working, the three cities: Alexandria, Falls Church, Arlington. And a couple months later, not even a month later, it was a few weeks later, I get a call at work saying, and they hand me a video, and I gave my descriptions, I gave my clear descriptions, and then they caught the guy, and they actually had some very, I had some unique items in my purse, which were very distinctive, me being me, and the person described them. And I was very careful when I went into the trial. I was very careful about what I said.
Well, let me ask you this question, and it's a very interesting story. But how can people take precautions? What precautions have you taken, to avoid that happening again?
Well, at the time, I called work and said, "I'm not coming in tomorrow, and this is why I got mugged." After that, they always made sure that that I didn't miss miss the bus that would get me most of the way home again, or they made sure that a manager would be able to drive me home. Okay. Buddies are a good thing. Also, like if I find myself walking late at night, which I like, but honestly at this point, like if you get mugged again, everyone's gonna look at you and go, "You should know better." So I was loaded down. So I always try to keep a hand free. So I had my hands were full. I had my phone texting, so I always try to keep at least one hand free. If that little warning bell goes off, don't care about being polite, cross the street, get away from the person. I've also, I work on the street a lot, so I've made friends with a lot of the people who are out here every day.
Okay. And I see you're taking precautions out here too.
Yes, I am.
We have your money tied down here, or tied onto that, so they can get. So be cautious and be safe. And I thank you for speaking to us. This is Dennis Sobin for Sage Street's IQ. What happened?
Well, I'm from Alabama, and so we were in Birmingham, and my brother had his bike in where all the bikes are kept, and then he didn't have a strong enough bike lock, and someone had obviously come around with and choppers and chopped off all the bikes they could. And
what did they do?
I mean, they just cut his lock and took the bike.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is he doing now to avoid that happening again? I assume he got another bike, or did he take
another
the
bike.
walking?
I got him a bike for Christmas.
Okay.
And then he has a bigger lock now. So at some point, at some level, all you can do is.
Okay. Is there a way for people? So many people have bikes that you think they can avoid that? Is it where they keep their bike, or just get a better lock?
I don't know. At some level, you just take that when you have a bike in the city. You just take that risk. there's a possibility that someone might steal it. So
Okay.
that at some level you just have to come to terms with that. But I mean, you can also get a bigger lock. That's what I would suggest. I have two now,
Okay.
and yeah,
Is this a fairly common, you know other people who have had bikes stolen?
I do. Yeah, happens in Birmingham. A lot of people get their bikes stolen.
Okay.
My friend had a really nice bike and he loved that bike, and it got stolen.
Oh my goodness. What could he do that was different? Did he do the same thing, get a better lock?
He had a really small lock.
Oh,
so,
we're talking to Billy in Washington, D.C. Billy, tell us what happened to you.
1981, I was working over at the Bureau of Public Debt, and I stayed in Southeast. And
Southeast Washington.
Southeast Washington.
Okay.
And we had to walk by a schoolhouse,
Okay.
and they have a playground there. And
Okay.
the guys used to be playing ball,
What time of the day was this?
like about 5 o'clock.
Okay, still light
Yeah,
out.
yeah. But usually, the guys be playing there every day when people, it'd be a group of us staying in this housing development right on the side.
Okay.
But this particular day, I was by myself.
Okay.
So as I walked past the playground where the kids were playing ball,
Right.
guy tackled me.
Okay. From behind, or
He just
did
tackled me like like I was
Oh my
running
God.
football,
Oh my goodness.
and,
Yeah.
and pulled me feet first up in the air.
Okay.
To try to shake to see if I had any money on me.
Okay. And what happened?
Well,
That he just left?
Oh no! He hit me. He beat him up after I told him I didn't have anything.
Okay.
And then when I got to the hospital, he
What did he beat you up? Because you were.
no, he was trying to rob me. I didn't have anything to
Oh,
give
I
him.
see.
He
So-
wanted some money, but I didn't have any money.
Okay.
The only thing I had on me was a cross pin set. The cross pin set that people usually have,
Okay. All right.
and that was it.
Well, how do you recommend people, try to avoid a situation like that?
Well, only thing I can say is just be more observant and don't isolate yourself. Like I was, isolating myself, not intentionally, but I was isolated.
Okay. All right.
And be aware that people monitor you. They know what time you leave, what time you come home. Some people even have the knowledge of when people, since this is a government town, when people get paid on different times of the day.
Okay.
So this particular day was a Monday, and he probably thought I got paid,
Right.
that they could
Right.
get some money from me.
Okay. Well, that's okay. Well, I appreciate you speaking to me. This is Dennis Sobin in Washington, D.C. Victim rights. Defendant rights. Rights are great, but they don't rate when crime lurks. You need smarts. You need street smarts. A high IQ. A safe streets IQ.